Waiting for YouTube to connect. So whenever you're ready, we can jump over. See, I don't want to be pushy with it. Both of our, I set up on my Instagram a timer that notifies people, and as well on the World Forge. So you don't want to sit there and be like, hey, we're live, hey, we're live. You just want to be like, okay, if you want to come, come. We're here. We've told you. You know. Beauty. Okie dokie. Ready? Oh, mine are always noisy. I'm unfortunately they're always noisy. Let's just okay. 3, 2, 1. We are going. Hello everybody and welcome back to the World Forge. My name is Chris and I will be one of your amazing and lovely hosts, and next to me I have...
I'm Eric. I'm the other wonderfully crazy lovely host that is the other half of World Forge.
It takes two to tango, my friend. It takes two to tango.
It does, because it's more entertaining. We could, in theory, do this with one, but I think it would be more boring because we'd have to remember to talk to ourselves, and that's not as easy to do as one would think.
I don't know. I sit in the car for close to 4 hours a day. I have a lot of conversations with myself, which is probably why I'm fairly decent at this, because now I actually have somebody else to talk to, and it makes me feel a little bit more human.
That's totally fair. 100%.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who may have tried to find last week's episode recorded me talking to Chris, and Chris was talking back, but you had to be able to lip read. So we removed all of that and some technical issues, so we did not post last week's episode. However, correct. Yeah. Tonight, we're going to go back through that real quick. And actually, yeah, we're going to do a recap, and then we're going to, for the other half, we're actually going to build our map for the plains. Because I discussed what I thought the plains looked like, and Chris kind of agreed, so I wanted to make sure that we got a visual out there, and that visual will go out and be posted on our socials and all of that.
It was a great concept that you came up with, and I'm actually super excited to dive into that and build the entire thing and visually be able to see it, because it was so perfectly explained. That makes me sad that nobody got to hear it but me. But that makes me feel very privileged that I'm the only one that got to hear it. And
they couldn't even hear your reaction if we had posted it.
Well, If you watched the video, you could have seen my face going. That's about it.
Pretty much. And check your OBS. Make sure you actually are taking input this time from your own friggin'.
I did. I double checked everything. I triple checked everything. I made sure that everything is working exactly the way that we want it. And people will also notice that we have made some extra scenes to make things a little more feng shui in our channel now.
A little easier for when, especially for when we don't have notes to share with you guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are you drinking tonight, Chris? You've always got the weird, crazy alcohol. What you got tonight? What are we not sponsored by?
So once again, we are not sponsored by the amazing All or Nothing Brewery in Oshawa. One of these days, I hope one of them listens. Actually, my wife just did a market there over the weekend, and it was quite fantastic. So tonight, I'm drinking one of their full-time flagship beers. It's called Take a Break Tropical IPA. And for anyone viewing right now, this is the fantastic can. It is amazing. If you're ever out in my region, come check them the hell out. They are dope as all hell. And the cigar I'm having, I don't know. It was a gift.
And we are hashtag not sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Somebody come and sponsor us. I don't care what it is. Just something.
You know, there's a million things that could sponsor us, but we're plugging everything until someone pops in and sees it and probably still doesn't sponsor us.
Probably not. We'll have to reach out to somebody and be like, hey, we keep mentioning you. How about it?
Yeah, you should stop in by that brewery and let them know you're drinking their shit all the time on camera.
I'm there every day. Like, I literally stopped in there today to go grab these beers. And being like, yeah, I'm going to be drinking your beers on a live stream. And they're like, oh, that's cool. And that's as far as the conversation went. Because
it's only been once or twice. Like, do it long enough to be like, I've been drinking your beer on camera for a month and a half now. Come on.
Now, the real goal is I'm going to have to try I've already tried every single one of their beers, but now the goal is to have every single one of their beers on live stream, can showed,
to prove to them, look,
see, free advertisement.
Correct.
Worldwide. All right.
Theoretically,
it depends on who listens. But
pretty much.
Let's do, as I like to say in my D&D podcasts, let's do a little recap from last week's episode, because we gotta.
Yeah, well, this time it's going to be a bigger recap, because we did a lot.
We did do a lot. We did a lot in a little bit of a short time. And the one little thing that I do want to add, just before we go into full gear, me and Eric have decided that we are actually going to be shortening the stream by a half hour. So instead of it being a 2-hour stream, we're now going to be jumping to a 1.5 hour stream, because this man wakes up stupid early and is sleep deprived. He needs a little bit of extra sleep. So sorry, guys.
I'm not far behind you. My kids wake me up by 6 or 6:30 every morning anyway. So
yeah, I'm already on the road driving the 401, crying like a baby.
I just said I'm not far behind you. Like.
Yeah.
So we will be ending. We'll be starting at 8 Eastern and ending at about 9:30 or so.
Yeah, about that. So let's jump into our recap. You wanna kick us off?
So last time on Dragon Ball Z, the World Forge, Krillin died again.
By a gravimetric dragon.
Shit happens.
He just gets some blood.
Right? But we left off with doing the Gray Wastes. We built all of Limbo.
We did.
And Limbo is a badass motherfucking machine, and we already want to run games in it.
we really, really do. Like, it was a dope build. Let's scroll down to Limbo.
The way we've got Limbo is, when you die, your soul, unless you've promised it to
a deity,
to something that takes your soul and corrupts your soul like a devil, or you've given it over as a... Well, no, the deities only let you kind of automatically pass the test type of shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it doesn't stop you from waiting in line.
You still have to go wait in line.
You still gotta wait in line. You just have your VIP pass when you get there. You don't have to ask questions.
Yeah.
But when you die, your soul goes to Limbo. In Limbo, the Grey Waste, we have like 3 different names for it.
I think we're going with the Grey Waste. That one seems to be sticking the most because we also have creatures that are based off the concept of the Grey Waste.
Correct. So we've got the City of Scales. You start off when you die, you go in line and you come in line at the Grey Waste, at the City of Scales.
No, you don't start in line. So you start in the Grey Waste itself, in the actual hub of the Grey Waste. You have to choose to get in line to enter into... No, because we wanted people to have the freedom. Because if you decide that you don't want to go straight to the trial, you could bypass that and try to go and prove your soul before attempting the Sphinx's trial.
I thought we had decided that it was waiting in line and you chose to get out of line.
Oh. I mean, that works too. We didn't...
It's kind of 6 and 1.
Did we write that down?
We didn't write it down exactly which way we had chosen. So,
God.
It was one of those where we never fully... I don't think we decided firmly enough.
No,
it could be left up to the DM.
Yeah. That could be
it's
an
one of those
item.
Mm-hmm. So you either end up wandering the Grey Wastes, or you start off in line. It's going to be up to your GM, your narrator, your dungeon master, your whoever's in charge, your storyteller. Every game has a different word for it.
Yeah.
And my hands disappeared. My hoodie is like a 4X right now.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
So at the City of Scales, there are 2 Sphinxes at the main gates, and they give you the option, or not the option of trials, they give you 2 trials. One is a trial of the soul, and one is a trial of... It's like a verbal trial. It was a questionnaire, essentially, that you have to answer.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And the one who judges your soul does so while you're talking to the other one. He never speaks. That this Sphinx, he or she, does not ever speak.
No, it just peers into your soul the entire time. Very creepy-like, too.
Just gazes straight through you, judges whether you are ready to be dead, unfinished business, that kind of thing.
And if you're not...
if you're not, if you are not, be prepared. Because this is where ghosts, banshees, poltergeists,
the undead,
all of those ethereal beings,
that's where they come from. Yep.
Is people who failed this test.
Yeah, if you fail the test, you're going back to the material plane, and you are now an undead thing that's
correct,
roaming the world, wanting to eat people's souls.
They also strip a portion of your sanity based on your readiness to be dead.
Yes. So if you're really, really not ready to be dead, they strip almost all of your insanity. And they send you there completely insane.
Yeah. And that allows for the variety of the different ghost type creatures to exist between ghosts, poltergeists, banshees, etc. Because they all have some kind of, if you read their lores and stuff like that, even in reality mythos, on some level they have some work undone.
Yeah.
Often it's their spirits who have been on the material too long. They've been back to Earth too long, and that's why they're insane. But I like the idea of, it doesn't matter how long it's been.
No.
Your sanity was just eaten.
It's just gone. It's just gone.
Yes. And these sphinxes live off of those people.
Yeah.
They eat the sanity of those not ready.
And then...
Which happens more often than you think.
Yeah. And then you have the other sphinx where if it deems you unprepared based off the questions that it asks you, it sends you back into the Grey Waste.
Mm-hmm.
But you're sent back there and you are not allowed to retry the trials of the Sphinx for an extended amount of time. I believe we said it was time equal to your life lived for the first time you fail. The second time you fail is double. And
it's a multiple. Each consecutive failure is a multiple of the number of times you've attempted. So first time is 1 times your life lived. Second time is 2 times your life lived. So now you've waited in line, first of all,
now you
to get there. Then you have to go and say you died at 60, but you were hemming and hawing about whether you were ready or not. You failed the second Sphinx's test.
You're now there for 120 years.
Well,
no, sorry, that's the second time.
You've now got to wait another 60 before you can get back in line.
Yeah.
Then you've got to wait in line again.
Yeah.
And for those of you who go to conventions, these lines are equal to convention lines that you show up late to.
Yeah. And for someone super, super famous.
Oh, well, no. This is the entrance to convention. The line everyone has to be in.
No, not that line.
It's that line. Because you didn't show up at 8 o'clock for a 10 o'clock open. You showed up at 10:05 for a 10 o'clock open, and you're still waiting until 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. So those are the two styles of the failings if you fail the Sphinx's tests. There's also the option of refusing the test. Now, refusing the test of being judged, you become a twisted and warped denizen of the Grey Waste called a Grey Soul. And your body becomes a white to black gradient kind of miscellaneous being. And your whole objective at that point in time is, depending on which side of the scale you're on, to convince people to corrupt people to stay in the Grey Waste. So you're trying to make people fail in order to become more of these entities. And then on the side spectrum, there's also the ones who want you to pass and get through the gates, and they try to help you push your way through. You don't know which is which.
No, because anyone who comes back from death is essentially in line. So they don't have the answers of what happens on every...
What lies after this.
But we did not go over resurrection rules for we didn't. For the Sphinx's tests. I just realized that just now.
So we'll have to make a jot note for that.
We'll have to figure those out.
We'll have to address that one.
Because that's going to be tricky.
Yes.
Although we do know that if you have refused and you are a Grey Soul, or you have been judged by the left Sphinx as unprepared for what comes next, you are tied to the plane of limbo.
Correct.
Nothing can pull you back until you have passed your test. And because then after that, it's up to the deity who you go to.
Yeah, it's their choice.
But before that, we didn't go over any resurrection rules of what if you fail the test. I mean, not fail the test. Yeah, what if you fail the test and you're just banished back out there?
And then someone on the material plane tries to resurrect your soul. Yeah.
Which, if you want to have that conversation, we can talk about that right the fuck now. We're thinking about it.
We could, but we still have a lot of other things to go over.
We do.
So let's finish the recap, and then we'll do some building after.
All right. So there are other settlements.
Yes.
Cities, villages.
Within the limbo, because limbo is essentially forever.
Infinite.
And some people are, they will fail, and they will fail again, and again and again. So there are entities that live in limbo and have created settlements and structures and full-on civilizations within limbo.
And there's guys who are just afraid of taking the test perpetually and aren't trying to improve. They're just living in their own fear of what comes next.
So they just stay in the
hoping to be revived.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like if you expect to be revived, like if you died with your party and you're like, no, my party is going to resurrect me. I am convinced my party's going to resurrect me.
There was a cleric in my party. I know he had Revivify.
He's gonna bring me back. Meanwhile, your party's sitting there over on the end going, is he really worth the diamond?
It's only a 300 gold diamond. Maybe.
Some people
I did kind of hate
man.
Steve, though.
Yeah, Steve was a bit of an ass. He kept hoarding all the gold.
Right?
So we did delve on to the concept of goodness and evil floating within the plane in the sense of the archons.
Correct.
So that was the archons of goodness and the arbiters of evil floating within the plane to help souls improve as well as tempt them in order to influence their destinations based on their desires.
Correct. So these are entities of good and evil, so demons, devils, and the celestials, the angels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We took a little bit of inspiration from Mount Celestia in this regard.
We did, yeah.
From the standard 5e mythology. But we took it, instead of just having archons that help you improve, we said there's archons of both because this is a neutral plane.
Yes.
So anything on here has to be in an effort for true neutrality.
Yeah.
Kind of. But
there was one little aspect that we had thrown in here that was not that.
Yes.
Which we'll get to in a minute.
But we'll get there. We'll get there. But the archons of goodness and the arbiters of evil, they are entities that live on the plane, whether they were supposed to be here because they were sent by a god or whatever purpose they are here for. They are here to help acquire free souls, so not the gray souls, and not those who have failed the test.
Correct. It's essentially new entries.
New entries and those who are too afraid of what lies beyond the Sphinxes.
Yeah.
Because the Sphinxes are guarding what seems to be this immaculate
city,
borderline infinite looking city.
Yeah, that's the city of Scales.
And that is the city of Scales. But these archons and arbiters are there to try and bypass the Sphinxes and take you directly to one or the other.
Yeah.
And they can, the more powerful of them have the ability to open portals to the heavens or hells that they serve.
Yeah. And that as well, that is what pulled us into the war that is actively happening on the plane of Limbo. So we have the war of the heavens and hells that are essentially trying to collect the souls of Limbo, of the Grey Waste.
Correct.
And that brought us to what we were calling actually, no, we didn't actually label it.
We did not name the war.
But I thought of a fun name of it being called the War of Scales, because it's essentially the balance between...
Yeah, it's the tipping of the balance. Right? Yeah.
So we did delve onto that a little bit in the sense of there's literally a war going on within the plane itself of heaven and hell going at each other, trying to pull souls to bring them back into these portals, to bring them back to their planescapes. And with that, we also came to the conclusion that there had to be a third party that was involved in this war.
Defending neutrality, defending
the plane of the Grey Wastes, which we decided to call them the Army of Scales.
And this is where shit gets interesting.
This is where it got real fun. This is where it got real fun.
This is where shit got real fun.
Yeah. We delved pretty deep into this one. So
because we went over how mortal souls die. Correct. We've also previous episodes have explained that our dragons are immortal but not invulnerable.
So they have immortal lives in the sense that their lifespan is immortal. They do not die of natural causes, they do not die of age, but they can be killed by outside sources.
Think like the elves in The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Tolkien's elves are a fantastic example of this. They are technically immortal, but you can stab them dead.
Yeah, you can stab them dead, you can magic them dead, you can swallow them with a dragon dead.
Right.
So with that, we went into all draconic souls try to defend the waste and close portals. So any dragon soul that dies on the material plane immediately comes to the Grey Waste. And I think the way that we worded it...
They don't wait in line.
No, they don't wait in line. They immediately get conscripted into the Army of Scales. Mm-hmm. So the dragons on the material plane, their entire purpose for life and the whole reason that they hoard gold and they try to get a collection of wealth as high as they can, as massive as they can, is strictly for the purpose that when they die, the more hoard that they have, the more wealth that they have, the higher station they have in the Army of Scales itself. Mm-hmm. So when a dragon dies, whether it's a dragon of dragon nature or a half dragon, I believe we opted out. It
had to be half dragon or higher.
Yeah, we opted out of dragonborns. We still kept them within your typical souls.
They have to wait in line.
Yeah,
but they're still a mortal soul because they are not. They're a certain portion of dragon, but they are not half dragon. They have to be at least a half.
Yeah.
Blooded dragon or greater to skip the line.
Correct.
But one of the things I forgot to bring up last time, and I want to bring up now, is there are dragons out there who do not collect gold. Yes. They hoard other things.
They do.
So what I would even argue is just because, let's say, a red dragon has more money, if the collection of their materials that they collected, because like I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's steel dragons. I think steel dragons collect experiences. They repeat life. They live life as a mortal and forcibly age themselves, make themselves look older and live lifespans as a mortal until they die in traditional D&D. Yeah,
and then they just cycle new lifespans.
And they just recycle new lifespans.
Okay, so it wouldn't be so much the concept of wealth.
Correct.
It's just the quantity of what they hoard.
Correct. And I was even arguing for they would be in different positions of like different roles. They wouldn't be a general if they had if they had more experiences than a red dragon had gold.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be in charge of the army, but they would be a high level, a high importance, but not combatant.
Not army based.
Not military, but more of the support, like quartermaster type shit.
Yeah, okay, no, that
it'd just be
sense.
Different positions.
Yeah.
Because the military needs different mentalities, so let's make it so that the dragons bring those different mentalities and different skill sets to that army.
No, that makes perfect sense. Because you would have within an army different factions and different things that you would need in order to run an army. You don't just have like, I am a commander and I am soldiers and period fucking end. Like you are going to have clerics within an army. You are going to have, strategic creations. You're going to have,
spies,
informants,
and steals would make great spies.
Oh yeah,
they have those lifetimes of experiences.
Yeah.
Let me go take one of those, turn into one of those, look like a soul, and go infiltrate the enemy, figure out what they're doing, and get back here. They'd make great intelligence agencies.
That's a fantastic idea.
So, like, there's a lot of different options that are out there. So they just fall into whatever category of what their horde was.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. I'm totally down for that.
But straight anything that hoards just wealth and precious materials and gems and things you can't actually take with you
would be more of the military base.
Would be more military.
No, that makes beautiful sense.
But when one thing we did with the Dragonborn was when they get up to the Sphinxes, if they were unprepared, they didn't become a Grey Soul.
No.
They joined the military.
They get conscripted to be a foot soldier.
They get conscripted for that same amount of time, and then they could try and come back if they felt prepared.
Yes, and then the other thing that we had as well in regards to the City of Scales and this entire army of Scales was any soul that tried to bypass the Sphinx and climb the walls of the City of Scales to gain entry without going through the Sphinx, immediately, with a snap of a finger, was, for the rest of their existence, forced to be a foot soldier in the Army of Scales. And turned into a Dragonborn?
Dragonborn.
Yeah, Dragonborn.
So they were the lowest rank of the military.
Yeah, and they are not allowed to try. Like they're banned from attempting to do the trial.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a lot of what we had. Planned out for Limbo.
As far as Limbo goes, I think that because that's all we talked about, but we ended up spending it 3 times what we just talked about. What we just did. We narrowed all that down to about half an hour.
There's we talked a lot of side discussions in there.
A lot of side discussions. We had to get to where we were.
Yeah.
We had to get there.
It was a fun time. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was a blast. It really was. But after that, we moved into the map of the plains.
We did.
So, real quick, I will give a real quick explanation, and then we'll go into actually building this map together. The way the plains work that we have mapped out so far.
Yeah.
We have material plane is a horizontal connection over to Limbo.
Yes.
Around the material plane, like the rings of Saturn, very much the same way. You have the various elemental planes.
Yeah.
Above the material plane, you have Fae. Below, you have Shadow.
Yep.
Now, we may play around with the names of Fae and Shadow a little bit when we get into the different lores of cultures and stuff like that, but for right now, we've been so far...
That's what we have, yeah.
Correct. So we've got those on this one side with the material plane. Then we've got the Limbo Crux. Over here on the Limbo Crux. Above it, we've got Heavens. Below it, we've got Hells. This is all floating in the Astral Sea.
Now, the one that you did...
Essentially.
The one plane that we did miss to mention was Time and Fate.
Time and Fate, I was getting there. We did actually mention it.
My bad.
In between Limbo and Material Plane, there was is where we stuck Time.
Yeah.
So it was the the center of it's what everything rotates around. Like it would be the sun,
It's the
so
axis.
to speak. It's the axis of the whole shebang. And above that was order, and below that was chaos.
Yeah. Which we never actually
So we had
dived into those two.
We have not dived into those yet because we aren't entirely sure how quite yet. We hadn't gotten there yet.
No, we hadn't really. We wanted to deal with the other major planes first, and then
Correct.
dive into those ones a little after the fact.
Heavens and Hells were supposed to be today, but we got pushed back because of the
Technical difficulties.
technical failures. Not even difficulties. Half of the shit didn't
And that
record.
technical difficulties being my mouse.
Yes.
That's what it was. It was my mouse. My mouse is
Somewhere between brain and hand, did not move mouse to click button.
Oh, it wasn't even that. My mouse clicked button of its own accord, and that's what screwed everything up.
Oh.
That's why I bought a new mouse.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because when you use a mouse that's 15 years old, it starts to do funny things.
So we've got and within the Hells and within Heavens, just like how over the material you had the elementals or essentially orbiting it, the Heavens and Hells have planes orbiting them too.
Yeah.
Because you've got the different heavens, like peace, creation, nature. Those are the three we have so far.
Yeah.
We'll probably come up with another half a dozen or more.
Maybe not a half dozen, but we might expand a little bit more from those
Correct.
three.
Correct. And then in Hells we had War/Valhalla, we had the Plane of the Sins, or 9 Hells, and then we had the Abyss. Those were the three we had there.
Just checking our notes. I believe you are accurate.
Yep. I'm reading off the notes.
Oh, okay. Well, then, never mind. Ignore me.
No, it's all good. You didn't know I was
You were just
reading
doing
off
it,
of it.
You were doing it so feng shui-ly. I wasn't sure. So smoothly, I would say.
Pretty much.
Mm.
It's like a lot of the shit's in my brain skull,
I mean, it should be. We're the ones who made it.
right? And you guys are always welcome to use this and steal this as you guys so choose.
Oh, please
That
do.
is perfectly fine, and we would love to hear.
I was just about to add that little factoid that if you do use any of the stuff that we make in this show, please tell us. Let us know how it goes. Let us know what stories or campaigns or encounters that you build. We want to hear it. We would love to hear what you do with the stuff that we make.
That is honestly one of the biggest compliments that a world builder can get, is to
Having
hear
our stuff used, yeah.
that it's used. Yeah, even if it's just our Limbo, because you loved our Limbo so much, because it's so detailed, but
Insane.
still, it's right.
It's insane, and I love it. Because
Crazy as fuck.
Limbo needs to be a little weird. It needs to be strange. It needs to have a little bit more exoticness to it.
So give me one moment, and I think I will be. Yeah, we can go ahead and say that I'm ready over here to share and do the mapping of our known planes so far.
All right.
So what we're gonna do at this point is, what was in our middle? Small creator plugs, right?
Yeah, we were going to do small creator plugs, and we were going to do Q&As.
Yes. So let's go ahead and do that real quick while we're gearing up for the next stage of our
Of the show.
shebang. Yeah, the show. That's
So
what it is.
we did actually have one question come in on our Discord page from somebody called Broken DM. And he asked us, as a world builder here, what is the first thing that you create when making a campaign? Is it the city or kingdom?
I'll let you go ahead and take this one first.
So, for me and my world building experience and past, I've always started with a kingdom. I find that having a kingdom or a region, you could call it, I like to call it a region over a kingdom. Having a region gives you a lot more open capabilities on the factions that will be functioning within your world. And then from there, it's a lot easier to build outwards. So having, say, your main region and giving it a name, giving it cities within it, it makes it a lot easier to kind of build outwards.
Yep.
And that's just the way that I've always done it. If you start with the city, it kind of limits you, but at the same time, if you don't have the intention of doing a full world map, then definitely building a city is a lot easier, because it gives you time to kind of build out and pull information from your players. So if you don't have it completely mapped out in your head on how you want this to look, using your players is a great way to get information. The best thing to do is make your first city, have a little bit of information on the side for you as a DM on how you are going to be running the encounter. And then as your players are playing within the first 2 or 3 encounters, 2 or 3 sessions, ask them questions in game of, you know, people that they may know from their past or areas that they may know, and see if you can pull stuff from them to aid in your large scale building. That's always fun, because it gives the players a idea of living in this world. It makes them feel like they are part of the world, instead of throwing a world at them and be like, well, this is what you're playing, and get over it, play with it.
Yeah. So I do that, but I define the entire region, right? My regions that I start with a continent. That way it is confined, so they can't say I live 12,000 miles away. It's like, that's not a distance possible in the continent. Try again. But I always work with them in their backstories to include all the stuff he was saying, other way. Wait, no, I was going the right way. Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah. So I'm trying to point at Chris. Damn. Nah. So I do all of that in session 0 with their backstories, with their builds, all of that. Like, when they pick barbarian, I go so far as to say, okay, well, where's your barbarian clan from? Are you even a clan? Or how are you a barbarian? Why are you a barbarian? I ask other digging details to try and get some of that out.
Yeah, you kind of build off of them.
Yes. But when I build that region, when I build the continent, anywhere that looks particularly interesting to play, like if I've got a place called Crater Lake, that might seem more interesting than just a regular old coastal city.
Yes.
So I'll pick somewhere that's more interesting. I'll pick somewhere that lends itself to stories and build that and say, guys, you're playing here. You're playing in this city. However, your characters can be from anywhere.
Yeah.
But we've just got to build up your little neck of the woods enough to be able to talk about it.
Now, here's a question I have for you in regards to that on a little bit of a broader scale.
Mm-hmm.
What if you have players that come to your game with no backstory?
I work with them to build a backstory. I've asked them questions to get them to give me answers.
Okay.
And if they can't, then they are not prepared to play yet.
Now, see, I've had players where they don't have the creative capabilities to do it. So even like I've gone through that entire exact same experience where I have asked the player, okay, where are you from? What type of people are you from? What type of people are your people? And those styles of questions relating to their backstory, but they're incapable of giving me the answers. I don't want to stop them from playing.
Correct.
Especially with new players. A lot of new players who join into TTRPGs, they're not ready to
like that.
Do that build. They're not ready for that backstory. They just want to play, right?
So what I do with them is I make them from the city we're playing in.
Yeah.
From the starting location. I say, all right, well, I'll narrow it down for you. I know a continent. It's a lot.
It's a lot
right?
of information.
It's a lot of information to look at this big old continental map. That's great. Here's the city you're starting from. Do you like anything? Does this city itself give you any ideas? Narrow it down. And if they still don't like that, I say, okay, well, if you want, you could be from a small town because some people aren't city people.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. So
if you want to be from a small town, we can build a real quick small town 1 mile or 2 miles away from this fucking big city. And you could be from the small town that's close by. And that's why you're in the city.
And that's what I've done in the past as well. That's what I was going to go on
but I don't give them, I will never build someone's backstory for them because I don't think it's appropriate as a GM to tell someone the background of the character they're playing.
I agree, but disagree at the same time.
Okay.
I have played with a lot of new players who, like I said, they didn't know how to do that build. All they had is that this is my character. This is what I want my character to do. Can you help me? So as a GM, I do feel like it is our responsibility to, if they ask and they don't have the information, to give them information to play off of.
And I'm right there with you, right? Like I'm just not going to build the whole thing for them.
Well, no,
I will
okay,
give them. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not going to say your mom was Lori, your dad was Steve. We still hate on Steve. It's fine.
Steve was a jerk. He was so mean to you. He wouldn't give you chocolate before bedtime.
Right. But so I won't give them all that.
No.
But I will help them lay the bottom.
To terms with some of it. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was asking, and that's more so a question. Like I know how I do it, and it sounds like we both kind of run it the same way. It's just a question that I have heard pop up in threads before. So I kind of wanted to get it out in the open so that other people who are listening to the stream have an idea how to do it in case they encounter it.
Mm-hmm. And there's a variety of ways you can, and nothing is wrong.
No, and that's I think that's the biggest thing to come to the conclusion of, is no matter how you do it, it's your table. As long as your players are happy with what you provide them, you're doing a good job.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Work with your players. That's the best thing to say, is work with your players and help them in whichever way that they need help, and just have a fun table. So
that's the point of the game, is to have fun and collaborate.
Exactly. So thank you, Broken DM, for that question. That led into quite a tangent. Again, if anybody else out there has any more questions that they would like to ask us, feel free to shoot us a message. We would love to answer more questions, but that's all we have for now.
All the social media where you can get a hold of us is going to be in the link tree.
Yeah.
Down in the description.
In our Instagram as well.
And you can always ask in our Instagram at WorldForge Live, because you cannot direct message on Threads. Hashtag fix that.
But you can also send us an email, which is
worldforge24@gmail.com.
Exactly, because I don't have the memory capacity to remember our own email.
Yep, and that's okay.
That's why
some days I don't either. I have to go look at my various logins on my computer sometimes.
I know, right? I have an entire notepad of just logins. It's so bad. Is there anybody that you want to shout out, or any little small content creators that you got at the moment that are tickling your fancy?
I think I'm trying to think of who's got Kickstarters out there.
Oh yeah, good
There's
call.
all kinds of Kickstarters happening all over the place.
Yeah.
Backer Kickstarter, head on over there. There's tons all the time of just small creators trying to do something cool. I saw one out there, dude, that's actually got 400 plus magic items.
Oh,
not magic items.
Okay.
400 plus spells. And like 25 different subclasses. I can't remember their name offhand, but
we'll find them. We'll post them in the chats later.
Yeah, we'll post them in the descriptions. But beyond that, I saw another one that was exponentially large maps that they based it on the number of backers.
Oh.
So like when they hit different milestones of backers, they increase their map count.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think right now they're right around 1,500 maps, give or take, based on their backer count.
Nice.
But when they hit 2,000 backers, if they haven't already, they'll be over 3,000 maps.
That's a lot of maps.
Yeah, that's a lot of maps.
That's a lot of maps.
A lot of maps.
Well,
would not want to build that many maps right here.
No.
And I love making maps, don't get me wrong. But that's a lot of maps.
Well, since on our last episode, our last stream, I did give a shout out to somebody, and I didn't get the chance to hit any people because technical difficulties. I will shout them out again because I think what they're doing is amazing, and they are a very, very small content creator, a single individual who's working on this. Their Instagram account is called Feisty Nonsense. You can find them over on Instagram and their socials, and they make hand knitted dice bags. Like they call them the Dragon Horde bags, and they are the cutest little things that you can ever find. And they're all, again, handmade by I don't know her name, by Feisty Nonsense. She has an Etsy that you can go check out as well, which is Feisty Nonsense. And by all means, please go check out this small little content creator. She's just trying to get her feet off the ground, and I think what she's doing is totally amazing. And if you're a dice collector, a dice hoarder, you gotta find somewhere to put your fancy clickety-clack rocks. So why not support a small creator, buy a dice bag, and put your dice somewhere pretty?
Yeah, right. That's fantastic. Like I love those little guys who are like creating
little handmade stuff, right?
Little things, right? Like you don't have to be a big person to be out there and doing something. Just do it.
And support the little people. The little people, they need our help, so we're in a hard time.
Absolutely. But I'm going to go ahead and start my screen share. If you can go ahead and get us switched over on...
All right. We are switched over. That looks so
other
funny.
things. I believe it.
Bear with us for a moment.
Share that. And now it should update and fix all the hijinks. There we are. You need to be watching the stream. Now it should update and fix all the hijinks. There we are. You need to be watching the stream.
Alright, so we are going to go ahead and just start by plopping roughly circle. So we are going to go ahead and just start by plopping maybe roughly circle at. We are going to here start. Why are you not working?
Was it fighting you?
Oh, Phil. I wasn't filling.
Oh, Phil.
Was it fighting you?
There we are. I fixed it.
Nice.
Oh, Phil. I wasn't filling.
There we are. So there is our material plane.
There we are.
I fixed it. So there is our
I will go ahead
material plane.
and start off
So
with
there is
text
our
that just
material
says
plane. There we are. Start off with
material.
I will go ahead and start off with. There is our
just
material
says-
not
mat- I will spell this right eventually. Material/Unity, and slide that bad boy right over there.
There we go.
Change the font color over to black. Bump the size up a little bit so it can be seen, not heard. There we go. Bump it up one more. There we go. That'll do that for that.
Beautiful.
So, with the material plane right there, we are now going to go ahead and do a plane of fire. Fire sound good?
Fire sounds good. Let's start it up.
So we will. Why the? Oh, because I did the same problem.
Gosh.
Yeah. They just added some recent changes to
Yeah.
Incarnate, which I love. Definitely shouting out Incarnate here, right? Like. Definitely a big shout out to Incarnate. They make a hell of a good product. I love their shit. They've been doing us very, very well for many years. Incarnate is fantastic. So there's a fire, here's a water. Not caps lock. Water?
Water?
And then make the... And then just like any other plane, these are all technically infinite. So one thing I want to make sure I do is... I've just realized this, the layer, because these technically, the reason the material plane is called our plane of unity
is because it's the center of everything.
Because it's the center. Yep. I just realized that we were not illustrating that appropriately, so I have now fixed it.
Well, that's
now I will use it.
super important.
Definitely. Definitely. It's one of the big things that sets this thing apart. And now, any guess what this one is? This light blue.
Light blue? I'm gonna go with shadow?
Yes! Absolutely! 100% shadow. Absolutely shadow. Always shadow. Why not?
Why not?
So, I went ahead and made that air, though. It made more sense than shadow.
Well, yeah, I gotta give you silly questions. Or silly answers, sorry.
Yep. And then...
So I figured air would more so be like white.
I could. Just like I could have fire and air up here, then water and earth down on the bottom. Like, there's a dozen ways it can be mapped. And we can fix those here in just a moment. Because I do think you are correct here.
Yeah, because air is naturally usually a white or silver kind of color, you know, flowy and airy and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yup. So I'll fix that here in just a moment. I'm just creating a couple real quick groups. Sticking fire down under the earth. No, I'll stick fire up.
Well, no, fire makes sense to be down below because that's technically
water. I'm sticking water down by earth.
Okay. You're our lovely map maker.
Map maker, make me a map.
Show me the map, the best map that you can make. That didn't come out very English-like.
Not at all.
No.
That wasn't even words, bro.
I mean, it was words. It just wasn't proper words.
I was also seeing a song from Fiddler on the Roof.
I've never seen that.
Matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find. Catch me a catch. Yes.
Yeah, no, woof, right over my head.
Right? And that's okay. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, that went somewhere else on me.
And that's okay. I understand I'm a musical nerd. That is perfectly fine. If you want to chat musicals,
well, sorry everybody, we just lost our Discord there for a second.
That's all good.
Not sure what.
If you guys
there.
want to even chat musicals, you can always use that same Discord link. That links you right into the company that is sponsoring and all of that. My company, Hebridean Tales, is behind the
World Forge.
The World Forge naming stuff and all the legalistics behind that. So you're always welcome to jump over there, and that'll link you into all of my stuff there.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to come over and just hang out and chit chat about pretty much anything.
Yeah. We also have all of our World Forge information over on that Discord chat as well, where you can post questions in the World Forge question chat.
Yep. So I am gonna go ahead and call Faye purple.
I mean, that's not. Although it should be like a dark purple, because I always feel the Fae is kind of dark and mysterious.
See, I see them as chaotic and whimsical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a little bit more whimsy.
Yeah.
So I went with a little bit of a darker color. Personally,
I'm here for it. I'm all about it.
And now this one's going to be a little weird, so I will throw a stroke color around this one.
Stroke.
Stroke. Stroke. Stroke. So inside of that is technically black, but due to the background being galactic, a little hard to see the coloring, but that's okay.
Make it a pink background.
I could, but it's playing a shadow. You're lucky I'm changing the color of the font.
I mean, yes. Yeah, that definitely does make life a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. So there's all of that.
And if anybody in the chat has any recommendations on colors that we could use, shoot them out.
Yes, please.
Make Eric change them.
Because I'm about to go change air based off of popular demand of
Me.
Chaos. Yep. Because you asked, I will fix it. It is fine.
And I did say please. Please is the most important word ever.
Oh well. I'll deal. Or I won't. That's my problem.
This is true.
So I will go with a gray.
Yeah, that works.
Make it easier.
That works. Gives it a little bit of texture.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see if I can figure out how to get out of this group.
No, you're stuck in there forever now.
Scene. There it is. Create the new group. Call it done. All right. So there's all of that. I am now going to see what fun little... Ooh, I like these laser beams.
Laser beams. Sharks.
So I'm going to go ahead and
beams on
laser
their
beam.
heads?
I'm going to laser beam.
Do it. So just for anybody new who's joining the chat, just so that you understand exactly what it is that we're doing, we are currently building a pictogram, I guess you could call it, of the planes, on how they exist within our world and how they kind of link within everything. So we have at the very center of everything is our material plane, or our plane of unity. Surrounded by the plane of unity, we have our four main elemental planes: our earth, fire, air, and water. Above that we have our Fae. Below that we have our shadow. From there we delve into deeper planes, such as the heaven and hellscapes, our plane of limbo. We are going to have our plane of time and fate, and we will see exactly how Eric places these all together. Even though we did discuss them, so I know how they're going to go, but I'm curious to see the actual final build of it all.
Anyone who was paying attention when we described it kind of has some level of understanding, and that's okay.
Well,
so,
I only say that because we have a couple of new people in the chat, and I just wanted to let them
I
know
did see we
exactly
have
what
one
it
new
is that
person
we
in.
are doing.
I did see we had one new person in Twitch, and welcome whoever that is.
Hello, hello.
We don't bite. We will say hi if you announce your presence.
I might nibble. I'll be honest, I might nibble.
We don't bite hard. And we always ask first.
Yes, consent is very important.
Consent is the most important.
Yeah.
All right, so
And hello
after
to
that,
our YouTube friend as well. Someone's over in our
That's-
YouTube.
that's
That's
me.
you? Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm just giving us a person to. All right, so because of that, let me go ahead and head over to here, take away the strokes. Let me see if I've got a. Let me see, fun. What textures they got? Let me see what textures they got real quick.
Anything fun? Well, actually, they got
That's
a lot
what
of
I'm-
textures.
They do, and they just added more for it being with the sci-fi battle maps that I'm using right now.
And just so everybody knows, we are using the Incarnate Map Maker at the moment.
Yep. And if you were able to see closer, you'd be able to see that better zoomed in, but it's a little tricky to tell, and that's okay. I'm looking to see if I can find anything that feels appropriate for wibbly wobbly time shit.
And we do apologize for the glitchiness of Incarnate through the screen sharing that we are functioning on. We are going to try and figure out a better method of doing this. If you know of any methods, please let us know. Help our stream out to flow a little cleaner.
If you have entire other options than what we've got at all, like
let us know.
right now we're using OBS with Discord. If you have other ideas that are better suited, please let us know.
We would love to know. This is what we know. This is what we have.
Correct. Our way is not always the best. I will go ahead and just pick one already and call it a Dark Explorer. Fuck it.
Cool. Do it up.
So whoa, that was not the.
That did something funny.
Yeah, I forgot to change to my shape.
Circles.
Circles are fun.
Circles are fun. Everybody likes circles.
Except for George. Or no, we're picking on Steve tonight. That's
yeah,
what
we're
it
picking
is.
on Steve. Yeah, we decided we like George tonight. George is okay. Oh yeah, did we? No, that was already in. Never mind. Ignore me. It's okay. I'm getting my episodes mixed up.
Yep.
My mind started thinking about Johnny Walker in the tavern.
The wizard Johnny Walker.
Yeah, the wizard Johnny Walker who plane shift into a tavern and got stuck. Now he's there forever. He's a permanent patron.
I mean, Patreon too. I'm sure he supports them.
I mean, probably. You'd probably be buying a lot of liquor being there forever and surrounded by gods.
All right, so Time and Fate is just
Awesome.
chilling.
Just chilling.
And
It's its own thing.
we are going to go ahead and group that real quick. All
Okay.
right, so there's that. And then up. Ooh, I like that one. That one works beautifully for this.
Which one are you thinking for?
Order.
Order? Okay.
I've got it kind of looking like Mechanus, like a mechanoid circle.
That'd almost be good for a hellscape. And like
I don't know. I might go over to our for the hellscape. I'm gonna head over to the lava.
Oh,
stuff.
Yeah, that would do
Yeah,
it.
I could do that for fire too, but I think it's more appropriate for hell.
Yeah. Well, we can always change the textures later at the fact. More so now,
Correct.
it's just getting the groundwork lined out, and then
Yep.
we'll start to hash it out later on, as we only have about another 20 minutes of our show.
Oh no.
Oh no, Charlie. Time is wibbly wobbly.
And then here is Chaos. That's where Chris lives.
That definitely is where I live. That is my home. As you built that, I felt my den kind of shift a little bit. I'm now feel like I'm being moved and pulled into another plane.
You are.
Oh,
I did that for you.
That's okay. At least I'm close to Shadow.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, like, shadowy people are fun. It's where all the goths live. That was pretty much me in my teenage years.
Okay. And then... Alright, it's not letting me do that, so I will just keep on keeping on.
I am liking the way that it's forming out. It's definitely making it a lot easier to visualize how the planes kind of coexist with one another. And having a map like that definitely makes it easier as a GM to picture how the planes exist with one another and how you can kind of jump from plane to plane.
Yep, because that's the other thing I'm doing is only planes that are connected
Can be jumped to.
can you use plane shift to get to.
Oh, okay. So you can't just plane shift immediately from Unity to Chaos.
Correct. You have to go to Time and Fate first.
And then from Time and Fate to Chaos. That...
And if we want to change that, we can.
No,
but
I absolutely love that idea. That concept is fantastic because so many times you know, once a character gets plane shift, it's just like, well, they can go wherever the fuck they want. But forcing them to go from one location to another location in order to get to their final destination, that's ingenious. That restricts movement and also restricts the use of action economy. Like you will be forced to stay in a individual location for an extended period of time to regain spell slots, essentially. And that
unless you have enough to start with to jump to, but it uses up.
Yeah,
it uses up that many spell slots. So to get to order from the plane of Unity, you have to go Unity to Time and Fate to order.
Yeah,
and that's 2 spell slots right there.
Yeah, and that's 2 big spell slots.
Mm-hmm.
Like those
they're not cheap spells.
No, those plane shift I believe is what, a 7th level or 8th level. I don't know off the top.
Google it real quick. It could be as low as 5th.
Plane shift? Yeah, let's find out.
I know Gate's a super high level. That might be your 8th or 9th you might be thinking of.
You may be right. Let's see here.
If anyone knows in chat, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know, because my phone is very, very slow. Surprisingly slow.
Heaven. I am just going to use... I'll use gritty yellow paint. That's fine.
Let's see here. D&D Beyond. Well, while my phone loads, I will just sit it here and let it look pretty.
The
7th level.
7th for
7th
plane
level.
shift?
Yeah, for plane shift.
Okay.
So that's still a pretty big spell slot to burn out.
Still a very beefy spell slot.
So like forcing players to do that, and you might not even have a character that has the capabilities of, you know, plane shifting. Like you might be using scrolls in order to plane shift. In which case you are burning money to do that.
Saving your players is no longer easy.
And that, for me, that's what I'd like to do in my campaigns. I feel that 5e has become very generous with movement and freedom of jumping. Restricting that definitely makes players think more about what they're doing and how they have to get from A to B, even at the higher levels. And I feel like once you hit that level, like, you know, 12, 15 kind of era, the Unity plane, the material plane, starts to become very mundane. pulling gods in, pulling planes in is definitely what makes the game more exciting and more difficult, more challenging for your players. So making it harder for them to get around in those planes, again, gives that extra level of difficulty. Hello, DJ Shades. Welcome back to the stream. It's good to have you, my friend.
Welcome. We are so glad you are back. You missed last week where we had the debacle that you could have helped prevent.
This is very true. Yeah, you could have saved us a lot of headaches.
Yep.
We're gonna put all the blame on you because we can.
It's all his fault.
It's all his fault.
Absolutely his fault.
Could have saved us.
100% his fault.
100%. Yeah. We love you though. Thanks for coming back. Oh, I know. My wife was at your event. It was fantastic. So just so you know what's going on, my friend, we are currently working on You cannot blame my wife for my technical failures. I mean, you can, but that's not nice. We are currently working on devising and creating the planes and how they all function and link to one another, and showing a more visual aspect of what the planes look like on a two-dimensional scale.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been discussing how...
I don't think I like the long line. I think I want the short lines.
Short lines?
Yeah, I had a long line that stretched from Grey Wastes to Unity,
Okay.
but I don't think I want normal travelers, excluding the dead.
Yeah, the dead is a whole different story. That's like a one-way trip.
That's a ticket. Right?
Yeah,
That's
a train ticket. You're jumping on a train and it's just taking you right there.
yeah,
It's
you're
not like
tough shit. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, you can't really plane shift from Unity to the Grey Waste. I don't think that should be a thing.
Yeah, and that's what I was like, Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out was did we want to do that? But I'm like, no.
I don't
But I
think
tried
so.
to map it too, right? To where I was trying to map it and see if it would work well. It didn't.
No, I don't think so. It's not really a good type, like, because in that case, it wouldn't be hard for a character to plane shift to the Grey Waste, grab the person that they want, and then plane shift back.
Correct.
That shouldn't be allowed. Like, that should not exist. That option should not exist.
No. The one thing I do like is that Heavens, to go from Heaven to Fae, or Heaven to Shadow, imagine that plane shift cost.
Ooh, that's a costly adventure.
That's 1 to the Grey Wastes, 1 to Time and Fate, 1 to the Material, so that's 3,
Yeah.
and then 1 to Shadow. There's 4 spell slots of 7th or higher.
Yeah. And that's if you're only jumping from those. You can use the gates.
A gate, but you can always use the gate spell as well,
Yes.
which I believe is a 9th level. The one thing I do want to say
I
about
believe so.
the gate spell is, especially if it is 9th level,
I will look it up
I
right now.
think that should allow
Any travel.
travel to any other plane you want. It doesn't matter.
Gate spell. Let's see here. That is indeed a 9th level spell.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so gate, you conjure a portal linking an unoccupied space you can see within range to a precise location on a different plane of existence. So, yeah, you could
Okay.
literally gate anywhere that you want. Now, I still think the Grey Waste should have a barrier that prevents people from gating into it. Or, if you do gate into the Grey Waste, it takes you immediately to the City of Scales.
We could lock the portals to the gates on any plane.
Or like just force them so that they only gate to one location?
They can only gate to the safest location on the plane.
How about this? It gates
excluding
to
material.
the main gate of that plane.
With exceptions, but yeah, like exception being for the material plane.
Yeah, because there is no main gate for the material plane for the plane of Unity.
Correct. Material's where you start.
Yeah.
I like this.
I like that. I like that idea. I like the idea of, only being able to plane shift via we can even call them plane lines.
Well, we were at one point calling them this astral ley lines.
Oh, is that what you want? Okay, so this would be the astral ley line. No, because the astral ley lines lay over the plane of Unity, don't they? So they wouldn't necessarily be these lines individually. These would be linking lanes that connect the planes themselves individually. The ley lines are magical lines within the plane of Unity, strictly the plane of Unity.
So I just came up with an idea, and I want to do some shifting around real quick.
We'll see you next time, my dude. Take care. Stay safe.
How dare you go to a bar?
It's where he works.
That's irrelevant.
I mean, you're not wrong. So I do like this. Take it easy, my friend. I do like. So I like that.
Well, here's what I just did, and what I did, guys, was I switched the material and plane of Unity to the center because it is Unity, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So I did Grey Wastes connects to Unity, Time and Fate connects to Unity.
Yeah.
Actually, didn't we have in the episode where we built Time and Fate, didn't it actually connect to the elemental planes?
Yes, it did, because that's where the gods went to essentially have their meetings.
They did not go to the Unity plane.
No, they did not.
So let me do this. I'm changing the color. Of the lines, and there we go.
Yeah, because all of the overlords essentially for mass meetings between the four planes would gather within the plane of time and fate in the tavern in order to have their discussions and whatever arguments that they so have.
Correct. So to get to time and fate, you have to first get to a elemental plane.
Yeah, I guess so. Because that's the only way to get to the time and fate would be through the elemental plane. Because do we want the capability of the Unity plane being able to... Not really, I guess. Like, we wouldn't want Unity to be linked to time and fate.
No, but Fae is, and Shadow is, and I forgot to add their... lines. So, right now we've got Unity in the middle, with air, fire, earth, water surrounding it.
Yeah.
Fae's above, Shadow below. To the left, from a direct portal from Unity to Grey Wastes, you can go up to go to Heavens or down to go to Hells.
Yeah.
Then, over on Time and Fate, which you can only access through the six elemental planes
of the six elemental planes. Well, the six outer planes essentially would be what they would be called at that point in time, or inner planes.
Just elemental.
Element. Well, because Fey and Shadow really are elements.
So right now, the way I see it, and you can correct me as you wish, and that's fine. The way I'm kind of seeing it is we've got 3 categories of planes.
Yeah.
We've got the plane of the gods, the heavens.
Okay.
The plane of death. The set of death planes.
Okay, yeah.
The afterlife planes. The planes of the afterlife.
Yeah.
We've got the planes of life. Your unity, air, water, earth, fire, Fey, shadow, those guys. Those are your life planes. Things live on those planes.
I see where you're going with this. And I like it.
And then the third set, what's your predictive algorithm saying I'm thinking for the third set?
Well, your third set is essentially your magic.
It's function.
Fuck.
It's the planes of structure. The planes of logic. Yes, chaos is in there. However, chaos is the absence of logic.
It's the negative.
Yes. So it's the planes of the cosmic structure.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. I drive.
But the plane of unity and the material plane cannot access the plane of time and fate because we said so. No, because it's a
I was waiting for something a little bit more punctual.
No, because our plane of our unity plane, our plane of the world is a dragon.
Yeah.
It's not a plane.
It's not a plane, it's an entity.
It's an entity. It cannot connect to the structure of the cosmos.
No, that makes perfect sense.
However, it can connect to the afterlife.
Yes. Why? I'm not quite sure.
Because it's a dragon.
And the dragon, okay, yeah.
The dragon could die.
Which means he's linked to death.
Which means he's linked to death, which means anything living on him can link to death.
Yeah. And also the fact that the magic from the other 2 dragons, the solar and the astral, are essentially giving life to the planet,
that plane,
which would be linked to all the elemental planes.
Correct.
Boom.
Congratulations, we have just retrofitted our entire logic structure on how we created this whole thing. We just backpedaled and figured it out. That's how DMs do.
Damn.
I'm a DM. Of course I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I will.
Of course we are DMs. We pull shit out of our ass all the time and talk about it until it makes sense.
Yep. All you gotta do is play a little longer and it'll make sense eventually.
Well, pretty much. Yeah. But with that, we now have our planes mapped out. We have all of our ley lines connected. We have all of our essentially magic lines connected. So with that, I think that is tonight's stream. Is there anything that you would like to say before we close off the episode?
Just go check out both of our shows. You can watch us and listen to us, not watch, because none of us are recording video and sending video out into the ether.
Not yet, but we will be soon.
Yeah, I think both of our shows are basically scheduled to at some point by the end of this year, beginning of next. Both of our shows are looking to go video.
So our goal with Shattered Memories, it would only be the Shattered Memories at the moment. The Rise of the Ancient King, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with scheduling, and in-person cameras is a lot to handle. But with the Rise of the Ancient King, if all things go as planned, we are hoping to actually open a Patreon account, and within the Patreon you would gain access to the video stream of the episodes, both edited and unedited, and a couple little extra behind the scenes kind of content. So if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing, keep an eye out on our socials for that coming up probably closer to the end of 2024 as we kind of hash out more of the details and everything that we need to do for that.
And everyone go check out the follow Hebridean Tales, because here in the next couple of weeks, at some point in April, we will be making a couple of announcements that I don't want anyone to miss. They're going to be fantastic and fabulous, and will show the growth that's been happening behind the scenes.
A lot of exciting stuff that's coming up, and we really hope everybody's there for it.
Yep.
So with that,
but that's all we have for tonight, and we hope you guys have a great evening. Take care.
We do. Take care, and make sure to come check us out next week. Again, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you there.
Yep.
Bye-bye.